think the next 2 to 3, even the next 4, 5, 6 months will be tough for crypto. There's no doubt that there is contagion. I'm sure there's hedge funds out there that have it still exposure. There are players out there. I mean, even look at someone like a Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy, and I know he keeps on kind of lowering his level where they're stressed on how much Bitcoin that they have. But I mean, if we go down to 10,000, 9,000, where's that breaking point for his and MicroStrategy's investment? Because they did borrow money to invest on that. So you think you have to kind of look at it in that way too, where there's bigger players that are involved here that you could have create an issue within the crypto markets. Now, for me, I think the biggest thing right now is yes, we'll see further kind of contagion, although I'm hopeful that FTX turns out to be the biggest one. But I do think this is the final leg down. In fact, if I show my chart here, let me just bring up my chart real quick. There's some really interesting stuff that is worth noting when it comes to the charts, right? So you can see that this was the Terra Luna collapse right here, and Bitcoin fell about 45% with Terra Luna. If we look over here, this was FTX. Bitcoin only fell 25%. Yet FTX, you could argue, was a bigger debacle than Terra Luna. So for me, that's interesting, right? Because it shows maybe a positive divergence in Bitcoin. Now, it doesn't mean Bitcoin's bottoms. I still think you're headed down 12, 13,000 major support, and then probably maybe 9,000. But I do think you're on your last leg lower. In the next 3 to 6 months, I think Bitcoin does bottom, and then it may take some time to kind of get its legs back. But I think that that's going to be the key. And I think, again, you look at, for me at least, I'm looking at this on Bitcoin specifically as a accumulate. So I think you're right on that, is that, GBTC, which is the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, I think it's trading at about a 50% discount to Bitcoin at this point. So there's definitely, that's the market telling you something's wrong. Now, having said that, I don't know the inner workings. I know the way that the fund works makes for that disparity to occur. I don't know how much stress they're feeling on it, but it's certainly, that would be, I mean, huge. That would be an earthquake of epic proportions, considering how much Bitcoin they own. And then again, do they have to unload it? So again, I know Grayscale has approached the Fed to say, hey, can we adjust this to trade it more like an ETF so it trades more in parity to Bitcoin spot price? But so far the Fed is like, the SEC is like, nope, you can't do that. And again, my guess is that could change when we get regulation. They might say, okay, we have regulation, we have transparency now. Now you guys can have basically a spot ETF. But right now, you're right. I mean, that is a potential black swan type event. Yeah. So I mean, number one, he's got to pay the price, right? And I was glad to see that he got arrested. He claims like he didn't realize, but I mean, reality of it is, I think he had to know something was going on there that wasn't quite on the up and up. So he's got to be held accountable. And again, I think that especially when you're the CEO, if stuff happens on your watch and you're supposed to be in charge, you kind of have to be held accountable. So I'm glad to see that he was arrested. Again, it's a matter of, this is I know it sounds, and you're right about this, there's no lender of last resort in crypto. But at the same time, when you look at the .com era, when you look at the financial crisis in 08, 09, there were the same type of things, right? I mean, think about Enron, WorldCom. I mean, these bad actors in the stock market doing really shady, like total frauds. I mean, you have Bernie Madoff, right? And when bear markets occur, that's when they're exposed. And so you're seeing, the positive is you could look at this as it's washing out all the bad stuff. So whatever's left over, if there is anything left over, hopefully it is stronger for that and cleaner for that. For me, I liken FTX to kind of a Lehman Brothers collapse, where you had these two big entities, one in that bear market collapsed, and then interestingly enough, the S&P 500, it took about 6 months for it to bottom, and it dropped another 45%. So I kind of am using that as my guidepost for where I think Bitcoin could bottom. So, you look at from FTX's collapse, 6 months out, and then about 45% downside, which actually puts us right around just below $10,000. So for me, 10K is kind of my level in the sand, or just below 9,000-ish. And I'm kind of eyeing maybe May-ish or June when that bottom could be. So again, just kind of doing our best here to navigate this wild market. But for me, that's kind of my angle on it. Look for sub 10,000 and maybe around 6 months. For me, it's just kind of playing it safe as more of a trader right now. It doesn't mean I'm not, I'm looking at some crypto options, some stock options. And I'm not saying options market, but like just trading opportunities. But I really do think that this is a trader's market. You got to be nimble. If you can't be nimble, probably smarter to sit on the sidelines until you really see that all-out fear. I do think the stock market's going to go through the ringer again in 2023. It could even be worse than 2022. I do think crypto probably figures out a bottom, but that bottom will be unbelievably nasty for many altcoins. So people need to be really careful here. If Bitcoin's going to go to 9,000 or 10,000, where does that put 90% of all cryptocurrencies at that point? I think Ethereum will survive, hopefully some others, but just be really careful. Like, this isn't the market where you try to pick that number 350 on the Bitcoin list for a 10x, right? This is being conservative. Keep your money intact so that you can put it to use when we finally do bottom with whatever's left over. Stops, targets, all that stuff, percentage of portfolio. And it's my way of kind of guiding people through this bear market into hopefully the next bull, and still making sure that we're able to make money over this period. It's hard, but it's doable if you know how to read charts. And again, the daily videos kind of walk you through all of that stuff. Format, my service under my name there at the top is called Verified Investing Alerts, and it's trade signals on stocks. We go long, we go short, we maximize gains, and then every single day there's a video as well where I go through all the intricacies of what the charts are signaling, the probabilities of every sort of move, how to position ourselves, and everything like that. So it's a great tool. I think honestly every time, those are the three technical things that we've found are the most accurate in terms of analyzing charts. But you're right, I thought it was super cool when we came up with it, because it was like plunge protection team, but you almost become your own plunge protection team because you can read the charts so well.
Yeah.